Welcome to the Old Pine Road Podcast. Home of the little drip.
Little drip. And welcome back to episode 2 of our podcast. Now, typically, as it stands right now, we're just planning on like one podcast a month. We want to get those numbers up, but we're going to see what kind of reception we get.
We're diving in hard.
We're going to see what kind of reception we get before we commit to that. But today, we have some extra time, so we are going to go ahead and film episode 2. We just got done filming episode 1. We listened back. Nothing too obviously terrible. So we're just going to press on and run right into episode 2. Now, I am going to preface today this episode by letting you know that in the first episode, we highly referenced coming back to some things, circling back to some things in the next episode. And that was all just lies. Bald-faced lies. We forgot everything we said we were going to circle back to.
I'm going to go ahead and say this. All those things that we promised you this episode, we're going to go ahead and put on the next episode.
The next episode, though.
So you best stay tuned.
We'll have free beer tomorrow. we will. We will. We'll resolve some stuff, when we get to it. I will say, so for the first episode, I had 4 notes written down. This one, I have 0 notes. So I have none at all. So we are totally winging it. I don't even need this notepad here. It's just decorative at this point. Although I might start...
Why don't I get a decorative notepad?
I might start doing... Look at all that table space.
I'm going to go ahead and get a decorative pencil out here.
I actually need a pencil so I can do my doodles.
Here you go, buddy. We got pencils. We're ready to podcast.
We're ready to podcast. We're totally we're freeballing this one, and that's just how it's gonna go. So again, apologies to anybody who expected any type of professionalism or effort or anything of value. That was your bad.
I have a big feeling they're here because they didn't in the first place.
That's why they're sitting there.
That's what we're banking on.
We're really,
folks.
really hoping. We're really hoping you guys listen. I really think it's just going to be the 2 Michelles.
I hope so.
They're our biggest fans.
I'd be happy
I hope
with
you
that.
2 are listening right now.
I'd be happy with that.
But the 2 Michelles, you guys are our favorite. You're the reason we're doing this. This is basically a private podcast for you, just like our shows. Basically a private show for them. So
we're going to do our best.
We're going to do our best. Just don't expect our best to be very good. We left off in the last podcast. We were talking a bit about Max's history with Shoestring Joe and the Star Thief.
Thanks, David.
Singular.
Singular. Thank you.
And history with them. Great band. Really cool sound. Shitty mandolin player, but everything else is really good in it. And Max and I go back and forth a lot. I should probably preface that too, that we're not actually mean to each other. We love each other a lot. But there's just something about being lowly.
It feels good.
It feels good to just kind of kick another person down. And we kind of do that for each other.
And you, the listener.
I like how you keep tying them in, because I keep totally forgetting that anybody's listening.
I'm a man of the listeners. I want all you people to know that they're on my side.
For you guys listening right now, he's looking at the camera.
They're on my side. I know you.
He's here for the listeners. He says to the camera.
Face for radio.
But I mean, we are recording video, so there will be video.
I keep forgetting that.
I don't know how you're consuming this right now. You might be listening. We're hoping this will be released on Spotify and all that, wherever you listen to podcasts. But then I think the video will probably just be on YouTube. Maybe it'll be even Facebook. I don't know.
I hope all you listeners are on a yacht right now in the Caribbean, soaking up the sun.
I hope so, too. I hope we're on a yacht in the Caribbean. I hope that for me.
It's a state of mind.
So yeah, we left off talking about Shoestring. We talked about Max joining the band. That
Good
first
old
show you
days.
did, we did that wedding. You know what the thing I remember most about that wedding was the bride, the entire show. Every time we'd start playing music, she would leave the dance floor. And then every time we'd take a break and start playing like Cotton Eye Joe or some shit, she'd come back out and start dancing. Like I've never had a bride that resentful about us being there. Like you asked us to come here.
It's part of the biz.
Dude, it is such a big part of the biz. Just being places.
But usually it's not the same person who hires you.
paid you a pretty
Yeah,
significant amount of money to
usually the person in charge of the actual booking will at least pretend that they should.
you know I don't. It's her day. It was her day.
It was her day.
It was her day, and we were just getting in the way at that point.
Yeah. Oh man.
So yeah, that show was pretty memorable. After that, didn't you play with us again like right away?
Yeah, the next day at that car show in Mercer.
That was
Suicide prevention.
The suicide prevention car show.
Yeah.
That was the first show that you did with us.
No.
That wasn't the first show. It was the second show. It was the first weekend you did with us. And I think Chris was
Chris
at
showed
that
up
gig.
at that
Yeah,
one.
so that was the first time with all four of us.
That was good.
And then was it the next time you played that you brought Dylan? And we had
yeah, at Sweetwater.
And we didn't have Chris for that one. And then
No, he was. Oh, no, he wasn't at the first one. And
I just remember the Presque Isle show was like the
Oh.
first time where we had like
Yeah.
all five of us, and that was
Right in front of the fireplace.
yeah, that
There.
was a good
That was
time.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't at the yacht club. It was at
That was
the
at
other.
the yeah.
It was at the pub.
Corey's birthday.
Yep,
right?
yep, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Another one of our favorites.
That was a good gig. That
Corey.
was
Hell of a guy.
yeah, great folks, great people. We love Presque Isle. Holy
Yeah.
cow!
It's the best.
I'm just gonna start telling people I'm from Presque Isle.
Me too.
I'm just. It's a more believable lie than the one we currently use.
Grufton, USA.
Grufton. There actually is a Grufton in Texas.
Is there?
Yeah. So my Facebook bio currently says Pride of Grufton, and I'm hoping nobody like is googling Grufton thinking I'm from Texas. Then again, I kind of hope you are. I'm gonna really lean into it.
We're giving away trade secrets here,
I'm
folks.
gonna lean into it. We're from Grufton.
Giving away trade secrets.
You know what we got to do is change our names next.
To what?
Well, I think I'm gonna go with Nemo.
All
You
right.
got to stop tapping on that too, because that's coming through the mics and sounds like shite.
You're right. No more tapping.
There was
Who
something.
gave me a pencil?
I didn't give you shit. There was something we were doing in the last podcast. When I go back and when I went and looked at the audio files, there's these big spikes, and I think they were from us clapping or doing some stupid shit.
Don't be clapping. Don't tap your pencil.
Again, if you're expecting any resemblance of professionalism, you're an idiot. Like you came to the wrong place if you expected
Come on,
a
don't
good
talk to our
quality
listeners
product.
like that. I'm sticking up
Sorry.
for you listeners.
Hey.
I'm the man of the listeners.
I'm-
We established that.
I'm an idiot too, so I can relate.
It's your tribe.
It's my people.
He's a man of the people.
Born and bred, I tell you what. Number one idiot from Grufton, Texas.
And he will argue with you to prove that point.
I am pretty argumentative. I think I've always been argumentative. I think it's just because I'm so bored all the time. It's just something to do at this point.
Fair enough.
So you did the car show with us.
I did it.
Should we go into?
What?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of start diving into this next album and our stuff behind it. Maybe we should wrap up like what we all did on that first album. I think we did. We kind of talked about how I laid the scratch tracks for the album by myself.
Yeah.
Over the course of like a year or two. I bought a computer, started putting them together.
This was pre-studio.
This was pre-studio. Yeah. This was pre-lineup. I mean, I started this. Okay. I don't think I started it before Thor joined.
So
I might have.
Thor.
I definitely did. I mean, I started writing for that album when I was 19, so the
like
writing
said,
was,
paper hands.
that was way long ago. So, yeah, I can't remember how much I had done, but Thor did all the percussion on it. Then at some point you joined the band. You came and did your mandolin part. Chris laid his harmonica down. And that was the lineup for the first album, although all the songs I wrote and played most of the instruments on. It was a really interesting process. Thanks for asking, Max. It was really interesting because I didn't know.
If I could get a word in edgewise, maybe I would have.
I did mention I was rambling a lot. There's going to be a little bit of rambling to start off. We got to lay our foundation. We got to lay our origin story. I'm just giving the origin story.
We're laying it down.
Laying it down. You know, the first album, if we spent years making it. We recorded it in a bunch of different places, bunch of instruments, different people. I knew nothing about, still know nothing about mastering,
It was a
recording.
big learning experience, correct?
Huge learning experience, and it got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to achieve perfection with what I have, so I either need to release it as is, imperfections and all, or scratch it and start from scratch, or wipe it out and start from scratch. So I made the decision to release it. That happened in October.
That was after you got in here, though.
That was after I got here, you're right.
So you were able to craft it into...
There was some things...
of...
So, fun fact, I was just thinking about this the other day. Hemlocks was the very first song that I ever wrote here.
Yep.
And it's the only song on the first album that was recorded here. I think you might have done a mandolin part or two here.
I did.
But that was it. Other than that, every other song...
Didn't you redo some bass, though, here?
You're right, I did do some bass.
And
You're right.
vocals.
Maybe it was just Hemlocks. I'm not sure.
Really?
The vocals for the first album, you know where I did those? In a shed in my mom's yard.
Oh.
My mom had a shed in her yard that was just,
maybe you're just
storage.
talking about maybe redoing some vocals.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to a point where I was like, I'm either going to take these vocals as is, or I'm never going to
Get this
to where I
puppy
want.
out.
Get
this
it out.
Puppy out.
So I did that first album. I recorded the vocals in a shed in my mom's yard.
Yeah.
It was great just going out there with all my computer stuff. Like,
going into the shed, Mom.
yeah, so that's where I couldn't do it at the apartment because they were doing construction.
Oh.
And so all day there's beep 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 fucking trucks backing up and shit. I couldn't record anything at the apartment, so I did the vocals there. Got to a point where it's like either release it or bury it. We released it, and it's an EP. There's some songs on there I'm proud of. There's some stuff on there I'm not. And but ultimately it gives you a taste of the Old Pine Road, and that was what that album was for. That's why we came with the name Laying Roots. It was.
What are you proudest of?
It was laying it down. What am I proudest of off that album? Sheesh.
Shish kebabs.
It's either Summer Sun or When All Is Said and Done. Both of those songs I wrote shortly after or during my divorce. And so I was at a pretty low point in my life and feeling pretty low. And that's what I poured that lowness into. Summer Sun is just kind of about national parks and the forests and how... we have these experiences there that are a huge part of our lives, and then we die, and someone else has a huge experience there, and this just constant steadiness of these places that we love and their influence in the things we do. Like, there's something permanent about that and lasting about that really appealed to me, and at the time I was really desperate for.
Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense.
So those two songs, I think, have the most meaning to me. Out of that and Hemlocks. Hemlocks was a good song.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, again, it got to a point I just had to put it out. I let it go, imperfections and all, and that was Laying Roots. And now we are working on Branching Out, which really feels like the first album. It's not the first album technically, but it feels like it because for me personally, like, the first album, every aspect of it was on me, from recording, writing, performing, releasing. Every single step of the stage was something I had never done before that I had to do by myself and then put what we had out there, and not by myself, but you get what I'm saying. I didn't have the help that I've had on this album, and in this album, although I still did 80% of the songs, like wrote, I didn't perform 80%, but like 8 out of the 10 songs are ones that I wrote on. It's a group effort. We wrote Muskie together. Muskie, I'm really excited for. That's going to be a cool song. I think that's going to be the opening single. Not positive
Beautiful.
on that, but yeah, this next album is a actual group effort. We're doing all the recording together. You know what I didn't do? I didn't talk about Paul and how Paul came to be because he's not here, so fuck him. But after, maybe I should go into that a little bit.
Well, yeah, we didn't really go into
No, I didn't.
anything after me. After
After Max
gig.
joined the band, Max, myself, Thor, and Chris spent a whole summer gigging together. Thor bought a bar, the Big Dipper, up in Pike Lake. Very cool bar, great food, great live music. Thor, Katie, Miranda, all of them there are just wonderful. So if you're listening to this and you've never been to the Big Dipper over that
Get
way,
out there.
get out there. It's an experience. But Thor had to step away from gigging to man the bar. Chris has always had a lot of side projects and different things, so he's been focusing more on those. So the band kind of turned into just me and you. Was that like a whole summer we did that?
Yeah, that was pretty much.
I think you and I spent
summer.
like a whole summer.
Yeah.
After Thor's
And the
departure.
winter before and the winter after.
Was it the winter? Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so Max and I spent some time cutting our tops, getting real tight, really starting to lean into the loop pedal. We use a loop pedal in our set. We got that upright bass. We added that into it. I mean, shoot, when we first started the loop pedal, I was just watching the video of Birchwood. I would literally have to pick up the P bass. I'd have to turn around, set down my guitar, pick up the bass, loop the bass, set down the bass, pick up the guitar. Or pick up the banjo. Remember?
All the instrument straps were just like
all tangled.
twisted like 5
they were
times.
so fucked up.
When I first started playing with you, I was like, how the hell do you do that, man? Like, I've never seen anything like that. They're just twisted.
I drop a
4
lot of
times.
shit. Yeah, that was where we were at. It was me and you. And that is still a great show to this day.
But they were playing with us intermittently, like once in a while.
Every now and then they join. Okay.
That's what was going on.
Then that winter, after that summer we spent together, we were playing at the Pea Patch. Or no, were we up at Platter Day? I think we were up at Platter Day up in Ironwood, and Paul came and saw us.
Yeah, that was a cold show.
I'm not gonna. Yeah,
show.
it was a very cold show. It was. We only had to do half the show.
Yeah, 42 degrees.
We got
I
halfway
think.
through, and they were like, "You guys have done enough." Make sure this camera's still going. Oops, sorry for bumping the table. We're all good.
I
rolling.
caught the mic.
Oh, you gotta use the chessboard. That's the only reason the chessboard's
Okay.
here, by the way. To hold up that mic so it doesn't
Okay,
fall.
okay, all right. I see what you're doing.
But yeah,
It didn't work.
No, not at all. No, I'm really aloof now.
We were talking about Ironwood Platter Day. Paul
We were talking about Paul meeting us. Paul saw us up in Ironwood. He followed us back to the Pea Patch and introduced himself, and said that he played some bass and had some background. I'm not going to go too deep into Paul's background because my hope is to have him here to just talk about himself.
We will.
A future episode. Next,
will.
Next episode.
Let's not promise that.
But Paul at that point started coming to open mics, hanging with us, and he eventually joined the group. And Paul has a really cool background. He's lived in some different places and done some different lines of work, and he happens to have some schooling in audio engineering. So he's been just a awesome addition.
Great asset.
And now I would say that the band consists of me, you, and Paul. And those are the core members. That doesn't mean you won't still see me and Max out there sometimes just slinging it. Skinner still jumps in with us here and there. We've got some other friends. Brendan Brookers jumping in on the fiddle. So we've been blessed to be able to do that. But Paul kind of became the third leg in our trio. We were a two-legged dog before this, and it was tough. But with Paul joining, we got our third leg, and now we can stand on our own. And
I'm loving
the dog reference.
Yeah, loving them. Keep going with those.
I will. So Paul joined, and Paul's great vocalist. That's what I really love too. Our harmonies and stuff like that have been developed. Everything's just been growing, and our set has been growing. And Paul has been with us now for what, a year? This is the end of his first year. At the beginning of this first year, he had never played an upright bass, right?
Yep.
So that's all still new to him.
Absolutely wailing on it.
For sure. And then he also, like the writing and recording aspect, it's just been so cool having somebody that knows what they're doing on the computer versus me. so cool to have that.
That has been nice.
And it's freed me up to like focus a little bit more on some of the musicality and things. And so this whole album has a different feel. It feels like our first album because it really is our first group effort album. And I'm pretty excited. What are some things that you've liked about the process or are looking forward to about this album?
I thought the collaboration was nice. I enjoyed the open dialogues about the directions that we wanted to take the songs in. It was nice having extended periods of time that we could just put into it and not have to necessarily rush to come up with a finished product.
Yeah, still feels a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because
it is nice to keep a good pace.
Well, and it's, like that first album, I realized that, number one, if you have too much space in between all your recordings, it's really hard to nail a consistent sound. Where the mic is placed, what the room is set up as, the distance of the mic, the gain stage. There's so many factors that go into capturing just a sound from an instrument. And by having that first album be spread out over the course of years, there's no consistency whatsoever.
Yeah, I think it's important in an album to have a kind of the whole thing has a vibe,
a body of work versus a bunch of individual.
Yeah, and you can feel the connection between the songs when you do it like that.
Yeah, and I definitely like this album. Will have that in a way that the other album just couldn't. So I think that's one of the things I'm most excited about, and also kind of why you do need to not rush, but have deadlines, achievable deadlines and goals. We've definitely had that. I really liked writing Muskie with you. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
Maybe this is a good so Muskie is it's like 5-6 minutes long. It's our longest song off of
7.
this album. I think we might have cut it down.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we might have. It's a really cool song. It's about a monster story. But Max and I wrote it on our way up to Munising, right? We were on our way to Munising when we started writing that.
I believe so.
We had a 3-hour-long car trip on the way there, and we kind of conceptualized the outline of the story during that.
Yeah.
And then we started hammering in those lyrics.
Filling in the gaps.
Yeah, which really, was just us kind of sitting up here on a couple nights.
Chewing on it.
Chewing on something.
Chewing on the fat.
Gummy.
Chewing the fat.
But yeah, we definitely that was a cool project. That was fun to work on together, and that's a fun song in general. Very theatrical. Yeah, I do think that is going to be the first single, and I think we're going to put that out hopefully around opening day of Fishing. I just think that's going to be a really cool mashup. we're going to be doing, I guess this now we're at the part of the podcast where this is more of a companion to what's coming out for the album. We're not always going to be hawking the album, but for now we're definitely going to talk about it, and because we have nothing else to talk about whatsoever.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what's going on with us. So.
Yeah, but you know, I almost was going to say the album's going to be a lot of fun, and then I was like, why even waste my breath?
And that's the attitude that we've come to know and expect from David Walters.
This is what happens when we only have 4 lines to go off of. Do you guys know my mom lost her virginity?
I'm gonna bring some notes next time too.
Circle back.
I'm gonna have some talking points.
You better, because right now you just with the pencil and no notebook is just disorienting.
Feels like something's missing here. I can't quite put my pencil on what it is.
Bless me.
I'll get to it on the next episode. I'm gonna be blessing David.
Oh, scheisse. We haven't been working on our German very much lately.
No, we've been slacking on our German. We will get back there.
Meine Schwester ist sehr nett. Mein Bruder ist sehr klug.
Got a good family.
Bier oder Wasser? Tell you what, you start learning from German from the apps, and all you're gonna know how to do is order fucking milk and coffee at a bar. Don't get it. Everything is just about that or your family. Talking about how smart or nice your family is. Like, no, get into the weird stuff.
Maybe you should get a book.
Let me shit talk. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Apps are just, they're so easy. You know, I sit there on my phone.
So our books, you just
Play chess.
open them. And then you just, all you have to do is read the words on the page.
Max, you know I'm anti-book. I'm not anti-book. I'm just anti-reading.
He hoards all these books, but he refuses to read one of them. Or let anybody else.
Nobody.
If I can't read them, nobody else is gonna.
I don't got the heart to burn them, but I will store them in a way that...
Yeah, I tried to read one the other day, smacked it out of my hand, and yelled at me.
Which one did you start reading?
Oh, I think I read something about shipwrecks.
Oh, really?
That doesn't narrow it down very much. I know.
For our listeners at home, who Max is so concerned about,
I'm on your side.
I, David Walters, have an unhealthy obsession with shipwrecks and shipwreck archaeology,
I think it's a
especially
cool
pertaining to the Great Lakes. You know where that was born out of? Well,
Where?
Camping. Every year we'd go camping up in Ontonagon. Oh, I got to stop doing that. Click, click. Sorry, listeners. Every year we'd go camping up in Ontonagon. One year we were up there, and a big freighter came into port. They didn't get a lot of freighters in their port during that time because they just had a paper mill, which didn't have a lot of shipping, but a big ship, I think the Wilfrid Sykes.
The Wilfrid Sykes, huh?
That's the name of a freighter that was up there, and I think that was the one that came in, and so it was just sitting at the dock in the middle of this town that we always went camping, and the scale of it. You know, I had no idea how absolutely huge. I had heard the wreck of the Edmund and stuff, and but my first time actually seeing one of those boats, it was like, I mean, it's still to this day burned into my brain, and it was just like, holy cow! So there's ships like that just littered around out there in this lake I'm singing and swimming in and building sandcastles.
Yeah.
And there's just like
Yeah.
tons of like metal and bodies and like
It's fascinating.
it's wild,
Yeah.
the amount of things that are hidden in that lake, and that's just like, well, what else is hidden there? And I went down that rabbit trail.
Monsters.
There's all kinds of cool monster stories. There is some cool, like Lake Superior. A lot of people don't know about like the bootlegging.
Oh, coming
like
from
they were bootlegging from Canada. They'd come to
Yeah.
like Isle Royal. They'd have like so yeah, you had like bootleggers and stuff skimming across the lakes, and that led to like piracy in some regards. Yeah, like crazy
Yeah, that's
stuff.
wild.
Yeah, like when a ship would wreck on like a shoreline up there, which back in the day before they had ports everywhere and lighthouses everywhere, like wrecks were pretty common. towns would get excited about it.
Yeah.
Like, even if people died in it, they were just like, well, that sucks. But that means that all the stuff that was on the ship or comes washing ashore, it was just like open,
Yeah.
fair game.
You
So
could really come up.
yeah, they would get super stoked about that. So yeah, my obsession with shipwrecks and stuff was just born out of that like experience. And I think when I became a dad at 19, it was like, oh man, I'm gonna be spending some time up here. I better start learning about the area.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I learned a lot about history. I learned about shipwrecks, and the shipwrecks got me into like the copper mining, which is a big, source of the economy up there.
Yeah.
And then learning about the copper mining got me into like the pre-woodland natives that were up there mining copper. So there's some like insane prehistory in the area that's just cool. I think we all know about like the Ice Age and it coming and going and some of those things, but there was some serious populations of people up here doing some really crazy cool things. They say that like the hills up there that they mine in, to this day in some places, but the big hills where they found all that copper, when they first came to the area, they had like logged it and kind of clear cut it. The loggers had done that. Mm-hmm. And so these hills were just covered. The one guy described it as looking like a golf ball would look, just covered in dimples. And those dimples were prehistoric mining pits.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a literal, like, predating the woodland Indians that we know. There was a group of likely native individuals up there who had been mining copper for a very long time, and we don't know very much about them because they weren't doing burials, they didn't have these big, they were transient, so they kind of came, moved around, set up one place and moved to another, so really cool history, and that's right in our yard. Like, you can find the copper they traded in the woods, in these, if you go out there with a metal detector and know where their trade routes are, you can find copper from that area, so that fascinated me. And
that is fascinating.
Yeah, that grew. And I definitely incorporate a lot of that into the writing. Home is the Sailor on the first album. I actually, there's some poetry that's referenced in that. That's about Lake Superior and the Great Lakes. Okay. Definitely like a Great Lakes Mariner song is kind of, when I wrote that, what I was thinking about. But I allude to water in the sea probably more than I should. An uncomfortable amount. If you walk around up here, there's ships and stuff everywhere.
They call it the Great Superior Sea.
What? Who calls it that?
They.
I'm gonna write that down. Great Superior Sea. Now I can say I call it that.
Nice cursive.
Yeah, everything's cursive when you can't fucking spell. Scribble it out. I dropped out of high school.
I know.
I don't even know. I asked you what you were reading that day, and we went off on a tangent. And now we're off. I was reading Still Life with Woodpecker, a book that you gave me.
Great book. Tom Robbins, one of my favorites.
It's been a good read. Is that cover the influence for like the Marlboro or the Camel cigarettes cover?
No.
It's not?
It's you'll have to read more of the book.
Okay, I will. Is it inspired by, or
what?
Is it inspired by?
By Camel.
Yeah. A little bit?
Yeah, you should read the book.
Yeah. I started reading it. I think he just got on the plane. So I'm on like the first 3 pages.
Read the book.
We should start.
We don't want to give it away.
You know what we should do?
Listeners.
We should turn this podcast into a book club, but never actually read the books, but talk about them anyways.
Huh?
I think it would be fascinating. We just speculate or just outright lie about what happens in them. Like, my favorite thing about Still Life with Woodpecker was when Megatron freed Tiger Woods from that collapsible elevator.
That was a very good part of the book.
Funny, too.
But also kind of heartbreaking at the same time.
That I haven't read it?
No, that part.
Oh, with Megatron.
Yeah. It's kind of...
It does tug at the old heartstrings, don't it?
It really does.
Gets you teary-eyed thinking about poor Megatron trying to save Tiger Woods.
I know.
Tiger Woods, man. That guy's career is wild.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't follow golf.
You don't know about Tiger Woods? He's like the greatest golfer of all
I know
time.
who Tiger Woods is. I thought you were referencing something.
No, he's like a really good golf
that's happened
player.
in his career lately or something.
He's kind of having I don't know if he's having a resurgence or what, but yeah, he's like the best golfer in the world, and then got caught with all them hookers.
Hookers?
Oh yeah, you know about that. Like
Oh,
40 like escorts.
40?
Like an obscene. Don't sue me.
I
None of
actually-
this is rooted in fact. We're not fact checking
I actually
anything.
didn't know about that. I heard he like had some kind of a.
Oh, he had
thing
an,
with
he
his
had
wife.
he had an affair with like multiple escorts.
Oh.
Multiple escorts. Just
What's
had
an
a
escort?
pattern. A hooker.
Oh,
A hooker that's like.
that's just a euphemism.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like the legal term. Because, it's illegal and like prostitution is illegal, but in some places it's legal.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're more likely to refer to it as an escort. But I think, it's weird, dude. Number one, I don't know anything about hooking. Or prostituting.
Or pimping.
I prostitute myself in a sense. You're not going to get sexual gratification, but you get to dance a little bit maybe. Maybe that's too much.
I'm looking at all sorts of things in all different kinds of ways today.
Expanding.
Yeah, you got to. Got to.
Yeah, Tiger Woods, crazy career arc. Great golfer. Holy shit. One of the best of all time.
I heard he could make a hole-in-one while his dad was jingling change in his pocket.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Because jingling change is so deafeningly loud. He's just got like a little like...
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, wow, we can still hit a golf ball.
Shoot through that. Boy's got nerves of steel. Yeah, that's
Hero of the game.
hero of the game. They just don't make prodigies like they used to.
No, they don't.
I just feel like think about how cool the 90s were for just sports. Like, just think about, dude, like Michael Jordan, Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds. I'm lumping in the early
Michael Johnson, the man with the golden shoes.
True. I am lumping in the early 2000s with the 90s.
And
as far as I'm concerned, up to 2005 is part of the 90s.
Michael Jordan was very active in the 80s, too.
That's right. His career
Started in the mid-80s.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
late
So
80s.
so when I say 90s, I'm referring from 1985 to 2005.
The 90s!
The 90s.
I think everybody, including our listeners, would agree.
Good. Venus.
I gave him
Serena
that look.
Williams. I keep forgetting
That's
that the camera's there, and so I'm looking at you a lot.
I'm looking at both. I'm trying to include our viewers in this heated.
You're very professional, which is the only time I'm going to use that term today. I shouldn't have chugged that coffee. That's
Should have drank more.
I chugged it. I mean, I slammed through that thing. I'm getting jittery now.
Here, I'll get on your level.
You can slam your coffee. Did you take those the other meal cups home?
Yeah.
I know they're not as good as that cup, but I still hope you like it. Max likes to drink out of a tin mug.
A tin mug. I'm trying to drink something out of this tin mug, so I'd appreciate it if you could stop cracking wise for about a second. All right, I got my sip in. You can talk again.
Matt was making some silly jokes. We'll talk about those another time.
Or not. Either way.
Matt, our good friend Matt, who I did talk to him.
You're a good friend, Matt.
Our good friend Matt
You're a good friend, Matt.
will be joining us on the podcast.
What?
At some point. Just for this. I just kind of want to see you two, like, duel it out.
Might come to fisticuffs.
It would be the worst fight in the history of fights.
Are the
Like, the two sweetest, most passive people I've ever known.
Not
Like,
passive.
I'm not saying you're passive, like, I'm not trying to say it in a negative sense, but you're a very gentle soul. You're a very kind, sweet boy. So to think of you being physically aggressive is like thinking of like Big Bird being physically aggressive, or like Bear in the Big Blue House.
I will kick Big Bird's ass.
Dude, have you seen his reach? I'm just saying. Kick down the door. But no, seeing you and Matt become physically violent sounds
Strangely appealing to me.
very interesting.
Next episode.
Next episode. Matt recorded some really cool backing vocals for a song that Max wrote. We're not going to air them, and I don't think we can air them even if we wanted to, but it's interesting.
Against
Against
station regulations.
Yeah, that's a way. This is HBO over here. We can do whatever we want. Matt has made some jokes at Max's expense, and they don't like each other because of that. But I like it. Like, I like how you two butt heads, so I'm also instigating both of you. Is instigating the word? Agitating.
Yeah.
Agitating.
Poking it.
I like to poke at it.
Yeah, you gotta.
Playing both sides.
That's fine. I don't even mind. I know I'm gonna win. I know I'm gonna come out on top. I'm not worried about that.
You know what's funny is I wrote a song for Matt's podcast. Matt is working on, I don't know if it's a podcast though. His is more of like interviews and I think documenting. I don't know how much editing he's going to do. I'm not going to talk to what it is because it hasn't been released yet. But
No.
'Cause
When's the projected release date on that?
I'm not sure. They just got like their opening music.
Oh.
I wrote a song for Matt's podcast.
What would that be called?
If These Woods Could Talk.
Okay.
If These Woods Could
Okay.
Talk. Which again, I don't know if he's going for a podcast per se or if it's more of a I know his goal is to like just capture interviews with, people. And,
Okay.
kind of get some like, document some history.
I'm gonna turn a question upon you then. If these woods could talk, what would they say?
They'd probably scream.
probably would.
It'd probably
Stop!
just leave me alone. Get the fuck out of here. What are you doing?
If these woods could scream.
If these woods
okay.
could scream.
Okay. Let's get real. Let's get real.
Oy.
Let's get real.
Yeah, that's something I think about a lot. Walking through woods, what did it used to look like? It's you can walk through the woods today and like imagine what it used to be like, but the fact of the matter is like we have a new growth forest up here versus the old growth, and that was just a different experience. So
Yep.
kind of cool to think about that.
Whole different.
Yeah.
It was a whole different.
I'll tell you what, if these woods could talk, they'd say stop putting up storage units. Chill out. You guys have enough space. You don't need to just take down woods to have more space to just hold your shit that you're not using.
If these open fields could talk, I bet they'd say quit putting up Dollar Generals.
Yeah, quit leaving. Jeez. I tell you what, that's the Dollar Generals and storage units. And then we're also going to start getting all these businesses that are attempting to avoid unionizing, like Starbucks, like that are the only reason they're expanding up here is because all their other locations are unionizing. Yeah, we're just it's interesting what we're doing up here, but we're not going to get into that. This isn't a political discussion, although it's going to get real political.
On the next episode, stay tuned.
On the next episode, it's going to get very political. We're trying to avoid politics. There's going to be things I'm going to bitch about no matter what, but it doesn't mean we land on.
Well, I mean that's just you.
That's just how I am. That's just what I like to do.
We love
I told
you.
I'm bored.
We still
a lot.
love you.
I'm bored a lot.
I thought you were saying I'm borderline.
Dude, I'm gonna check the time here. Hey, camera, Max. Why don't you tell them about some of the exciting things you got coming up?
Coming up, let's see. Well, tonight
What are we doing tonight?
we're playing an open mic at the Pea Patch. This is my second open mic at the Pea Patch as an
It's
official
not your
co-host.
okay as an official. I was gonna say
Let me finish
you've done
my.
a bunch of open mics. You've done a bunch. I did have coffee.
I'm aware that I was attended open mics.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm sorry. The coffee's calling the shots. I can't wait for you to finish talking.
He is the coffee, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm so jittery.
On
like that.
Friday, we were at the Sweetwater at 9 o'clock, I believe, in Eagle River, Wisconsin.
Hold on, that's my Google Assistant. Stop it!
You talked to her nicely.
I really did compared to what I normally do.
I know. Hey, viewers at home, he ain't lying.
Listen, it's AI. And if you're not verbally abusive to AI, what are you doing? It's not a person. You need to put it down. Keep it at its level. If we keep building AI up like it's this good thing, it's going to kill us all.
I'm just not going to use it.
You're not going to have a choice soon. That's all you're going to be able to, like, every time you got a call for
I won't be able
something.
to flip a light switch.
No, AI has to do it. That's part of it's part of the grand plan.
Well, when I can't flip a light switch to turn on my light anymore,
We'll get into that
hopefully
in
I
our next
can
podcast.
still pull the trigger of a gun on myself.
Shh. Taking a real dark turn at the end of this one. By the way, if you or anybody you know is struggling, there's helplines. And I don't know the numbers to them off the top of my head, but I know that they're out there. And
We can get them to you.
we can get them to you. Or just come see an Old Pine Road show.
Yep.
Come see an Old Pine Road. Anytime you want to just go see. Anytime you're having a bad time, live music is usually
I would agree. It
pretty
always
good.
picks me up when I'm
Yeah.
feeling a little down.
We're pretty lucky up here that there seems to be more and more people or venues that are having live music.
Yep.
Yeah, so open mic we do the second Wednesday of every month at the Pea Patch.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
That's a really
Always a
cool.
good-
That's a
always a
that
good
is every single one is different. That's my favorite thing. You never know what's gonna be there, who's gonna be there.
I think we're going to have Dewey and Lori tonight.
Dewey and Lori are wonderful. I hope we have Nick Montz there.
That'd be great.
Josh,
I haven't seen Nick Mouse.
There's some just
A
fantastic
good minute.
musicians and buddies that show up to that, and it is just a really unique, special atmosphere, and the most fun you can have on a Wednesday night up here. It really is.
Yep.
It's an experience, and we've
Certainly
been doing
is.
the open mic for a long time. You co-hosting is new, but it's been around, and
How long have you
Special.
been doing that? No.
you know, the only reason I know how long I've been doing anything is because Facebook memories. So it's,
Thank you, Facebook.
it's probably close to a decade. But remember, a
Really?
decade is anything more than 6 years.
Oh, okay.
So-
So about 5 years.
Probably about, probably right around.
Okay.
It's been around a while though, and yeah, it's one of my favorite music things.
Did it kind of start small?
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean, it's
build
still
it?
small.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but yeah, it's grown.
you got people who show
Yes,
up every
it's
week.
grown. When it first started,
Every
I
month,
mean,
rather.
there was definitely open mics when I first started where I was the only person there for open mic. and
Okay.
It was just a David Walter show, you know. But
Oh,
now it's not. Now it's growing, and there's a lot more music variety. It's one of my favorite gigs because even though we're playing and stuff, we actually get to let other people play, and that gives me an opportunity to interact with people that I don't get to do. It's hard to interact with you at normal shows. If you guys are listening and you're fans and you've been to a show and you know me and Max, you know that I have a tendency to just kind of do the old Irish goodbye and sneak out when I'm done because I don't know what it is about performing, but I do know what it is, but it's just kind of socially draining, and when we get done playing, I'm just so tired and usually still have a significant drive home, so I roll out. So open mic gives me an opportunity to actually hang out and interact and talk and do stuff. And
make some of those connections and hopefully forge future musical bonds with other local musicians.
I mean, we were talking like Thor, after you, Thor is probably one of the longest serving members of Old Pine Road, and same with Scott, and both of them first time jamming was at the Pea Patch open mic. So
Oh,
yeah, Pea Patch open mic has
Steeped in history.
Yeah, it's opened doors for other people, and it's a big part of why old PRB is where it is. Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but like, you came up to jam with Scott Kirby.
I was playing with Scott Kirby on a Wednesday night at North Fork Fin and Filet, Arborvita, and then I shot up to the Pea Patch, and I believe that was my second time playing there with you. The first time was a gig that we had there. When they went outside and they were making the Snow Angels and playing that quarter game.
Oh, the quarter game. They pick a quarter up with their butt cheeks and drop it into a glass. That's pretty special. That's pretty special.
That was an experience.
Yeah, that's
and
again,
Snow Angels on the same night.
Yeah, open
Anything
mic.
can happen.
Open
at
mic.
the
You got to come to the open mic at the Pea Patch. But yeah, that was. I remember you coming up after that Scott Kirby gig, and that was like
it's a good night.
Yeah.
That was probably my first time playing Hallelujah with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah, that was a good time.
I think we did Wish You Were Here too. That was nice.
Open mic is good times. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. Curious who's going to be there and what it's going to be like. You never know. You never know what you're going to get.
Nope, you don't.
Well, gosh.
But you can always count on a good time, at least.
It's going to be a good time. You know you're going to get that. That's for sure. Yeah, I think that's about it for today.
All right.
We are, the next chance we get, we'll try to get another episode together. I don't know when this is releasing. I don't know if I'm going to put episode 1 and 2. I don't know anything about anything from this point on.
We're feeling it out.
We're feeling it out.
And we got a
We're
good,
going to see
we
what
got
kind
a
of
good feeling
response
about
we
it.
get, and that'll kind of dictate, I guess, what time we invest into this. If you do like what we're doing here and you own a business and you're interested in advertising your business, that's something that we'd like to grow to provide. But for now, I guess we're just going to hawk ourselves and go from there.
Old Pine Road Band, baby.
Old Pine Road Band. Tonight at the open mic. Come check it out up at the Pea Patch, second Wednesday of every month. If you want to check out our schedule, follow us on Facebook. I'm really bad about posting the schedule or anything. You can always message and I will let you know if you got questions. But, we're improving. We're growing across the board. And that's one of those things we're going to get better at. Yeah. You got anything else you want to add, Max?
Just want to say thanks, guys, and I appreciate it hanging in there with us, and looking forward to doing some more of this with y'all.
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks for
it.
listening. Remember, what's our special word? Yeah, we can't remember it.
Cucamonga.
Cucabunga.
Cucabunga. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll get you a kiss and a half of an Old Pine Road sticker.
Remember that.
It's got to be at one of our shows, though.
Also, doesn't hurt to like, follow, and share.
It's a kiss on the lips, by the way.
Kiss on the lips.
David Walters.
Shit. Now, that's kind of a risk.
You said it, not me. I said the
no
half
tongue,
sticker.
though, okay? Is that fair?
Perfect.
Is that fair? No tongue. Cucabunga, get you a kiss on the lips, no tongue, half a sticker. I think that's a fair deal. If you're still listening at this point, I'm sorry. But I'm also very grateful for you. I'm grateful to all of you for listening. And I think that's it from the Old Pine Road.
It's the Old Pine Road Podcast.
That's the Old Pine Way.